Hi students, today's topic is consumer loan theory. It's our next unit, module 6. Let's go ahead and get started. Loans make up a large percentage of bank revenues. Three general categories of loans are consumer loans, mortgage loans, and commercial loans. According to the FDIC, there was about $1 billion in outstanding loans to individuals and FDIC-insured institutions in 2008. About $387 million of that amount was credit card loans. Banks attract money in the form of deposits. Money leaves banks through loans. Banks' income is generated through interest and fees. Sometimes we call this asset transformation. It refers to using deposits to generate revenue by putting deposits to work via loans. Deposits are bank liabilities because they could be withdrawn by a customer at any point in time. Loans are bank assets because they represent money that the bank will receive. When banks transform liabilities, deposits, into assets, loans, asset transformation has occurred. For a bank to be profitable, it must engage in asset transformation. Returns need to be generated with minimal risk. There should be a staggered process of making loans, the expiration of loan payments, and investment maturity dates. In 1952, Harry Markowitz developed this concept called modern portfolio theory, or MPT. This theory states that within any portfolio of investments, diversification should be used to spread out risk. Diversification should include a variation by industry and a variation in maturity dates. Maintaining a diversified portfolio shields investors from downturns in a particular industry. Ideally, a downturn in one industry, which leads to reduced profits in that industry, would be offset by increased profits in a different industry. In this way, a relatively stable level of return can be achieved within a diversified portfolio. But some people don't believe in this, and so I would consider watching this video on what is modern theory. Consumer loans take up a good percentage of the bank's loans portfolio. Consumers represent a specific market segment for bank loans. Consumer loan theory has evolved as part of the methodology for developing profitable consumer loan portfolios. Here are some few examples that we're going to go over. If a bank has the opportunity to lend $25,000 to two customers and can charge one customer an 8% interest rate and can charge another customer 12% interest rate, which customer would it want to secure? Remember that loan interest rates are determined by overall economic conditions, the prime rate, and the amount of risk associated with the loan. The first example I'm going to talk to you about is adverse selection. It's a concept that the borrowers who are most willing to accept a high interest rate are the same borrowers who are most likely to default on their loans. So if the first customer is offered $25,000 loan at an 8% rate because they have a strong credit history with good collateral, it is because they are very likely to repay their loan on time. If an 8% interest rate is available on a $25,000 loan, why would a borrower consider paying 12% interest for the same amount of principal? You can think of this as maybe because they have a side business and they want to run it out of their home and need $25,000 to buy equipment. Because they're starting this side business, it's unknown how much revenue will be generated by the business. But because they are very passionate about their business idea and they really want to start the business, they may think that this is okay. They believe so strongly in their idea that they are willing to risk other assets to get the startup capital. They will gladly pay 12% interest, even though no similar loans are available for 8%. The bank is unsure about their profitability because it's a new business. So adverse selection led the high-risk borrower to accept a loan with less favorable terms. Another example is some segments of borrowers are more likely to prefer one type of lender to another. For example, if a car company has a lower loan qualification standard than a bank, then a consumer with a relatively weak credit history might opt for auto financing from a car company. Because it is easy for a consumer with a weak credit history to obtain a loan from the car company, then the consumer is a captive borrower relative to the car financing company. On the flip side, when high-risk customers migrate to the auto company for a loan, then the auto loan company will have a higher default rate. This is just another example of adverse selection, but you can think about it when you hear car commercials or if you go by car dealers. These places know that they are going to be able to have a captive borrower. They know that people will come in buying a car through them and may have a higher default rate. Another thing I want to talk about is moral hazard. It occurs when a borrower takes greater risks if they think the harm they will incur from those risks will somehow be minimalized. Think about in the early 2008 when the government intervened to rescue Bear Stearns. There was a great deal of concern whether other financial companies would continue to engage in high-risk behavior because they knew the government would provide a safety net if they got into trouble. Many would agree to decrease moral hazard, the government should not intervene to rescue firms that engage in high-risk behavior. Banks can decide on an appropriate customer base. Not everyone who applies for a loan receives a loan. Sometimes banks will loan someone a portion of a requested amount. When banks refuse to provide a loan, when they lend less than the customer requested, they're engaging in a credit rationing. Remember, revenue from loans is the primary income source for banks. Therefore, banks are very selective in deciding the type of customer with whom they will do business with. Let's talk about downstream loan profit. Banks do not always keep loans. They often sell loans on a secondary market. Securitization of loans occurs when individual loans are pooled together. These combined loans can be sold as securities. The individual return rate for each loan and the individual risk rate associated with each loan is combined into a collective return rate and a collective risk rate for the pool of loans. Securitization can occur for any type of consumer loan, including vehicle loans, educational loans, miscellaneous loans, but the one that you probably think about the most, because it happened in 2008, is the home equity loans. And so please consider watching this video on securitization. In addition to generating revenue from managing loan portfolios, banks also generate revenue from charging a variety of fees. These fees include the list that you see below, but know that, according to the FDIC, banks earned $9.9 billion from service charges on deposit accounts. There are a number of service banks offer that generate revenue, but that are not included on their balance sheet. So you can consider off-balance sheet activities as overdraft protection and assorted letters of credit. We've not talked about letters of credit, so please consider watching the video and reading the article on letters of credit. I hope you enjoyed today's unit and loan. What did we talk about? Consumer loan theory. You can tell that I don't typically like to make videos for you, but please consider at least reading this information and looking at the articles and being ready prepared and talk about it tomorrow in class. Thanks. Have a great day.